How come we aren't showing up? There we go. There we go. 1 2 1 2.
All right. Looks like nope.
Oh, good call. Good call. That could have been bad. That could have been bad.
Don't want to deal with that shit again. All right. Welcome, Glad Game Pod. How we looking? I can see. Go like left or right. Weird. So you look how fluid mine is, and yours just seems a little, right? See what I'm saying? It looks a little choppy. I can see it on like.
Oh yeah. It is a little choppier.
Yeah, I can see it on Discord too, like on this one. Just weird. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on?
Make sure. There we go. There we go. No, because
just some technical difficulties. We're used to it here at the pod. And yes, we are Visor Gang again. Thank you, chat.
I don't know what the hell kind of hat I'm wearing, but I'm wearing a
hat. I like it. It's like it's the one that what's his name always wears. There's actually a name for that type of hat. It's like it's like an Irish distiller's hat, like which ironically it's a Jameson hat. So it's like, but it really is. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I feel like when I said that, anybody listening is like, I know what that is.
Little short brim, so I still get some of the light. You can see my beautiful face.
Exactly. And if everybody's here, we got Sage back, so we're no longer solo mode. We have officially rejoined co-op mode of the pod. I thought about that the other day. I was like, oh, I'm definitely dropping the co-op mode. We're couch co-op this week.
I like it.
Back to couch co-op. Gonna play a little couch co-op games probably later tonight, because we'll definitely be in for that. We haven't decided if it's guys and I or not yet. We'll figure that out. But you'll know, or you won't, actually. So there you go.
You will not know.
Yeah, well, I'll probably mention it. Anyway, so we got Sagey Poo back. We're very excited. Yep, there's the poo of Sagey. So
do we want to give a rundown, or do we just want to get in?
I just want to get into the main topic. So last week we talked about, or I talked about Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I was hoping that that was the nail in the coffin, and that's all we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
not the case.
Well, just more information came out.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Like I said, and like kind of like I was saying, there was like a weird part where Activision Blizzard sent out an initial statement that was kind of like saying we fixed a bunch of stuff, but their president is like, I failed you, and is like, we're going to do all this other stuff, which kind of seems like they didn't talk to the PR team, like he didn't talk to, like they were, it just didn't seem aligned.
Yeah,
like the message was different.
Which we've seen a lot of times, but when it's something this big and this important,
right? You would think they would be on, like the head, like the president would be on the same page as the marketing team.
It does make me a little. I kind of like that they're not on the same page, because like people are taking accountability.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's like we haven't done enough. I don't give a fuck what PR said. Like we haven't. Period. It's like great.
Yep.
And it's kind of furthermore because more information is coming out. But obviously, if you're on any in this gaming socials this week, on Wednesday, Activision Blizzard staged a walkout, and no one worked on Wednesday, and the whole company pretty much had a big walkout. It was the Acti Blizzard walkout, like hashtag. You probably saw it. But yeah, so they staged a big walkout, and it wasn't just them. A bunch of Ubisoft employees also like were in support of it. Basically, the whole gaming industry was kind of like addressing their support of the Activision walkout, which basically it was a public message they said you should do, and had over 1,500 signatures at the point of signing. Then the company walked out. They also had a virtual walkout, quote unquote. They wanted people to take part in. You're knocking my camera down, or is it diagonal or something?
It just like was getting the top of your head.
Oh, gotcha. They wanted, so they staged also a virtual walkout where basically you wouldn't log into Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, or Overwatch, basically Activision Blizzard games.
Oh, so outside of work, not like you go into the office, you just don't sign on.
No, yeah. So there's a picture of everybody actually outside the office. Sitting at the front with all their signs, like which, like I said last year, I'm not going to get back to our point because it's very simple. We stand with the people protesting. It is incredibly egregious and fucked up. And the one thing I'll mention today because I have to, and it came out, is like the most insane fucking thing I've ever heard of happening at an actual company, or at least it's up there because I did work in forensics for a little bit. So, but it's pretty fucked up. So you also wouldn't go on. It was also urging players to not log on the games, kind of show like the player sports. So
yeah,
I didn't play any Activision Blizzard games, like no Call of Duty, nothing. I
didn't either. Solidarity.
There you go. Yeah, not because you weren't playing them anyways. But
No.
But no. So we obviously stand with the employees of Activision Blizzard, and like I said, hopefully they make the right moves to do the stuff. The more information came out this week, which I just kind of want to touch on. I don't want to make the whole episode about this because I think everybody knows, and it's pretty clear, line in the sand, where people should be on this. And like I said, we talked about it a lot last week, so I don't want to keep like driving into it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
you get bigger, you're gonna have to give up some of your douche values and become somewhere that's open to like everyone to work, and you can feel comfortable working for.
Well, it's just like, don't sexually make people feel uncomfortable in their office. They shouldn't feel like they're like, there's drunk employees walking around the office.
Yeah, you shouldn't be drinking on the fucking job.
Well, that was one thing. I know some companies do that, and like my friend Amazon had a keg and stuff, and like, which is fine if it's like after hours or on like meetings at the end of the day or something, or as long as you're like it's not affecting your work. But if it's clearly affecting your social dynamics, which alcohol will do that.
Well,
if you can't handle that, then you can't have it there. Period. It's like that's also like on you, but it's also on the company for allowing it. But what I want to get to is this came out this week, which is. I'll just read it off, but so obviously it was the quote-unquote frat boy culture, sexual misconduct, harassment, workplace harassment. So there was a couple people named. The main person named was Alex. I'm so bad with fucking names. Alex Afrasiabi.
We don't give a shit about his name.
Afrasiabi. He's a piece of shit, but so he was. Like the creative director, like the vice president of creative director at Activision Blizzard. He's a quest giver in World of Warcraft, which they are taking him out, and they're taking all NPCs out that are named after real people as well in their games. But basically, so he had a suite. So it came out that he had a suite that was specifically named, and the suite was basically. It's not mentioning where it was. I think this was at one of the, where the fuck was this thing? I thought it was at, it's a hotel room. There you go. There you go. It's a 2013. The name of his hotel room at BlizzCon 2013. It was called the Cosby Suite, after Bill Cosby. And basically there's a text. Fuck? Yeah, this is why I was like, we'll talk about that because this is insane. It's called the Cosby Suite. And it shows me to post showed their text chain, which had a bunch of crazy shit in it, but about bringing girls to hookups and saying one caption from the person proclaiming the suite, the being gathering of hot chicks for the cause, as in cause being hot Cosby Suite. Bring them, Alex, as Robbie said, and then they said you can't marry all of them, Alex. Former Blizzard designer David Cossack, that's who said that. Alex responded, I can. I'm Middle Eastern. Frosby, Jesse McCrae, a lead game designer at Blizzard, responded, you misspelled fuck. Then, also as part of that, they took a picture with a Frosby and a bunch of the game designers, took a picture in the hotel room, all on the bed, with their hands in the air, cheering, holding a massive picture of Bill Cosby.
What the
fuck? So I can
I don't
this, but like that's fucked. This is why I'm saying like this is like another. You're not only is it wrong, it's wrong because at the time it was called Cosby Suite obviously because of the issues he did. So you're leaning into how fucked up this is, and not only are you calling it that, you have a fucking poster of Bill Cosby that you're taking picture. Like how fucking stupid and how much of a piece of shit are you that like there's one thing to have like dark humor jokes about Bill Cosby and stuff like that. That's like, you're going to make a joke and make it. When you're literally doing the same action or similar actions at a workplace, being the head of it, then promoting it, and then leaning into it by naming your hotel room that.
Yeah, it stops being a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And you just become fucking Bill Cosby. Like,
yeah, it's very fucked up. Like, again, like, who hasn't heard? Dark humor is one thing. This is beyond dark humor. This is like you are now applying actions. Yeah. Like maybe he's not drugging girls, but you're like, let's take all these girls up here to the Cosby Street. You are the lead or the head, so like you have that power dynamic, so they could feel, and you also work with them, like, and then you're treating people at work. It's just like, so this is at BlizzCon, which is a work event for Activision Blizzard employees. BlizzCon is a work event for these people. Like, what the fuck? This is so fucking disgusting. It's like, like this is why I was saying, like, alcohol doesn't like make you a bad person. Being a fraternity doesn't make you a bad person. Even making jokes about Bill Cosby does make you a bad person. But at all of those together, when you have no inhibition and then you're just acting on pretty much all of that, then it's like, yeah, you are a piece of shit for those reasons. And the fact that you as a person are a piece of shit, regardless of any of those, whatever, you know, it's like, this is, your actions are making you the person, not like where you came from or what your beliefs are, what you did.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And it is fucking egregious. Like, oh my God. Like, I've said dark jokes. You said dark jokes. We were in a frat that said dark jokes. Nothing remotely close to this kind of shit.
Yeah.
They were jokes. You didn't act. You didn't do anything like that. You just made a joke. It's like, it's so, oh my God. It's so, that's why I didn't want to go into it. It's just like, it pisses me off so much because it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it takes like, they mentioned 2013 a lot, but like, it's also like, which I get 2013 is almost a decade ago at this point in 2021. But apparently these allegations are predatory behavior. I mean, this guy was still working there until like recently because of these allegations. So it's like, obviously the last couple of years, like they said in the statement, we've been working on it, but it's like clearly not enough. The fact and what makes it show that it's still this predatory behavior, this shitty behavior still happening. The entire company walked out Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I don't give a fuck if this happened a decade ago. Apparently the shit is still going on regardless of what your PR team thinks, because 3 days ago in 2021, the entire company is walking out because there obviously is still these predatory or shitty allegations, or this just like culture that people feel blatant unsafe in the workplace. If you go to work, you're going there to feed yourself, feed your family, do what you're not agreeing to being solicited or being feeling unsafe or whatever like that. That's not part of the deal. The part of the deal is for you to provide for yourself and your family. That's why you're working, and it's like your passion. Yeah. But that's why you do what you do. And if you have to keep the job because you're trying to do that, it's crazy that then you have to then deal with this kind of bullshit. It's like that's not part of the deal. That's period, not part of the deal. It's like, if that's happening, that's wrong. Fuck those people, and that something needs to be changed. And clearly, something needs to be changed. But like apparently, like, so they were screaming. Like also at this place, they would like with the girls be partying with the girls and stuff. Like I don't want to keep going, but one of the images, there's like other images. One had a woman on the bed, also holding the portrait of Cosby, and another woman holding someone else's breast. And male colleagues cheered on the action, calling it cause approved. Yeah, I mean it's all really fucking weird, and it's just. The quote, ugly boardroom back at Blizzard's main office, which is one of the quotes from the lawsuit as well. So, I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, I don't know much more I can say. I mean, it's pretty much that. And it's like, we're obviously getting more information of this. The other thing that I did want to mention, because I was like, can't get much worse because, but then again, these predatory gross actions seem to be, I'm not saying Blizzard is saying go do this shit. I'm saying obviously there is a climate that fostered this kind of shittiness because multiple allegations happened. So apparently in 2018 there was a court records that this blew me away. That one of these people, not somebody that was named, but a former Activision Blizzard IT worker, installed cameras in the women's bathroom under the sink so they would both aim at the toilets. And he had it up for about 3 weeks until it was taken to the police. I guess they didn't know about it for 3 weeks. It says,
yeah,
like they did an internal investigation. But either way, technically you could say that could happen at any company because some people can just be fucked up.
Yeah.
But it just seems like we're getting all these accusations, more information. It seems like it's fostering an environment of this kind of behavior. Not everything is the camera. Yeah. But that is like, how much worse can this be? You got paintings of people in Bill Cosby stuff, which is like, could be dark humor jokes or something, but then those people are also acting in a predatory way.
Yeah, that
clearly.
shit works its way down. Like, even if you don't hear the exact story.
But now
like,
someone who's like mentally maybe not all there, or who's like, oh, I don't really think of this. They're like, fuck it, I'll put cameras in the women's bathroom. Because they think at some part of that person's core, they thought that was okay. And it's like, it's never okay, period. And like, what the fuck? When I read that, I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy.
Dude, there's just...
Granted, that was 2018. So again, the PR statement is like, we went... But it's like, you foster an environment where at some level, this dude thought this was okay.
I don't
Granted,
love...
he could be fucked up in the head and, could have happened anywhere technically.
Could have. I don't know. I don't like to condone violence and...
Oh, beat the shit out of this guy.
That's the thing. It's like jail for fucking people like this sometimes is you just need to get your ass kicked a lot. A lot. And it's just, I don't know. We can get into a whole nother fucking cultural thing, but it's just.
The quote from that incident, by the way, is they allegedly serving, and one of the things from the current lawsuit is that it's, what that is a sentence from it that like people are latching onto is that it was served as a breeding ground for harassment.
Yeah.
I mean,
sounds like
bro. And like, whether they say they're taking the steps or not, this information does kind of prove it's like, well, it kind of looks like it does. Yeah. And like, I don't like, we don't know firsthand. I just know what I read, but like, it's pretty damning evidence. And there's a lot of evidence, like a lot of information about it. So it's like,
and what's our source? What are we?
This one is from Vice.
Okay, yeah. They usually do some good research.
So the camera one I was reading off of was from Vice, and the lawsuit in general behind the Cosby Suite information was from Game Informer. Okay, which are like they're not like JimmyBees.com.
Exactly, credible
like
sources.
Yeah. Which don't even get me started on like, oh, what's a credible source? It's like, fuck you. You know what one is. You know what one's on. Yeah. It's like that one guy in Congress is like, I can't define porn, but I know it when I see it. I know what I can define a credible source, but you also know when it's like, like shut the fuck up. But anyway, so.
All right, we spent one beer on that, so we are moving.
Let's get off that. End of story. We both are stand with the employees, and it's disgusting. Yep. Let's just move on. Try to get everybody some happiness now. Let's move.
Hell yeah.
But
move on. Let it go.
I am. It's speaking of too much power in a power dynamic. Alienware is. That was a bad. I'm trying to make the transition.
That's fine. I don't know the story, so.
Alienware is getting banned Alienware PCs are getting banned in 6 states, including California, because they use too much power.
Wow.
Yeah. So this apparently isn't an issue anymore. They've just reworked basically. And it's not all Alienware. It's specific configurations of the Aurora R10 and R12 gaming PCs are no longer available for sale in California, Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Vermont, or Washington. And there's actually a warning message saying that it will not be shipped to these provinces due to power consumption regulations that have been adopted in those states. Dell also notified that any current orders that are in those states will now be canceled as well. So imagine like you were supposed to get your computer and then like it didn't. Now, for example, I actually have an Aurora R12. So I have one of the. Right, it's actually what's processing all this.
Do you know how much power it uses?
So they said it's specific configurations. If they were just blanket statements saying the R10, R12, maybe, but it's all the one. It's I don't know. So the R12 is like the Intel Core version, and which is what I have, but it doesn't. At least this article doesn't have the exact configuration, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It also doesn't say. It just says it doesn't meet the Tier 2 regulations that went into effect on July 1st. But at least this article, I did not see what that energy level is. Alienware has already commented saying this won't be an issue in the future. They've reworked their power consumption, so they'll actually be lower. They'll meet or exceed the requirements easily. And this is all basically this regulation came from mainly crypto mining and stuff because Alienware.
That's what I assume.
Yeah. So which crypto mining is still legal in California, and forecasters have said that Bitcoin mining alone could consume as much power as Italy in less than 5 years. So just that one, which is crazy. So that's why they've also reworked graphics cards to basically not have a lower cycle time, which doesn't affect anything with the gaming part, but it does affect them just turning for Bitcoin mining. So
that's kind of cool.
Which has helped lower the graphics card market because that fucked the graphics card market where these things were
still fucked.
They were cheap. Not like relatively, it was like $500 for some of these new cards, $600, which is a great price, and it was up to like $1,200 because they're like we can't make it, and they're like they're all getting bought up. It's similar to like how like PlayStation 5s and stuff were getting bought up, which also crossed the $10 million sold threshold.
Yeah,
I saw this week as well, which is pretty cool.
Hell yeah! And then even beyond like the primary market, it was having an effect on the what's it called? Like the if it breaks, like replacing it, the warranty stuff. So all these guys that were mining were just running them 24/7, burning them out under the 2-year warranty, and then having them replaced with fresh cards, which is like that's obviously not what it's meant for.
Right.
So they like started lowering the warranty window on stuff. So any gamer or casual user, if their shit breaks down, isn't covered in that 2 years because of miners just ruining that whole ecosystem.
It's fucking just. I hate those assholes. Like, I mean, because they've ruined the gaming community because of it.
They're definitely putting a strain on it. Yeah,
it's like, why have 3 factories that only make one semiconductor? It's also putting a strain on the entire world.
Yeah,
from PS5 to Jeeps. Like, I mean, literally everything.
Yep.
So it's the target system is. I actually did get something. The current given benchmark system of 10 to the negative 14th power joules per byte transmission is not sustainable by 2040. Current processors operate at 10 to the negative 17th joules per bit.
That's crazy.
So that's a workable target for more efficient computing. So basically,
I would have assumed it was like
14.
a straight up like power consumed by the computer per minute, but they're actually like breaking it down.
Joules per bit.
Bit is insane.
Yeah,
like
so they need to get to
but that's also
the negative 17th power. They're at the negative 14th power, and I guess these specific Alienwares follow, not all Alienware, to be clear, it's just the R10, R12 specific configuration fall into the benchmarks of the negative 14, which
is super smart. Like if you're gonna write a law, like you could tell that law was written by someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about.
It was written by an engineer.
Yeah,
it was like 100. Like no one else is gonna be able to write that.
Exactly, and that's smart. I don't necessarily agree with the whole thing, but if you're gonna try and attack miners, like that's a very intelligent and well thought out way to do it. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah, so
lawmaking does usually not go this way.
Basically, if anybody's asking what that means, like per year, it's like, basically the kilowatt hour per year limit is 50, 60, and 75. That's for the baseline of like, I don't know why it's in threes. I'm sure I'm reading something off here. It's 50, 60, 75.
It's probably like residential, multi-residential, and business or something.
But and the Aurora Raisin Edition model cited as a short idle energy consumption of 66.29 and watts and 563 when stressed. So
663.
563 when stressed, 66 when just essentially resting.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, so but as a baseline, thin clients must be manufactured between 2019 and 2021 can consume no more than 50, 80, or 100 kilowatts per year for ES scores of less than 250, 251, or 426 to 690 respectively. So basically, it's just not falling in that range is the problem.
Interesting.
But they said they'll meet or exceed the new system. So this is just a.
I wonder if like stuff like liquid cooling brings it down.
That's liquid cooled. So I'm curious, but it also depends. It's really just the power consumption of the built-in like regulator in there, which I actually know they sell like massive ones.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be like, did I get the massive one or not? Because like it's like, oh yeah, we're 66 watts when idle or chilling, but 563 when stressed. And I'm like, you can tell when it's because they're and I'm like, okay, that was probably.
Don't worry, we still frack in PA. We're good for.
Well, yeah, PA is not one of the 6 states, so we're good. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they're not gonna be.
But like I said, the new one are moving towards that, and it was It was things manufactured from 2019 to 2021. So meaning, like if you currently have something like that, I guess they're your grandfathered in.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like. They're not gonna like come in your house, and be like, hey, throw that out the window right now. But I just thought that was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
Because they're Alienware is Dell, like they're the gaming branch of Dell now. So pretty big company that's like, yeah, we got to address this. Granted, with certain configurations they've had made their focus on this. New models and configurations will meet or exceed those standards in line with our long-term focus to address energy and emissions. So basically this is all to help carbon emissions because the gaming industry is considered a massive contributor of that just due to the electrical power that we generate through the computers.
Slap on streaming there, it doubles.
Right. So that was pretty interesting. So so let's get out of the those. I don't even know what we're in right now. Oh, actually, we have a few chats. I can't read them over there. We got a bunch of chats over here. We'll get. Sorry, we did not look at the chat window.
Just 3 different want to become famouses.
Oh my God, we do. All 3 different people. We do want to become famous. Thank you.
Want to become famous.
I don't want to sign up and click that weird ass link. All right. Also, one thing that's not on, I forgot to put on here, is the Halo Infinite beta went live the other day, 2 days ago. It looks pretty good.
Yeah,
it does look pretty good. It's slowly getting better. For everything, I didn't get a play it, but the technical preview and the multiplayer screens that we've been seeing and stuff, it does look like a lot of fun. The graphics look a lot better. Granted, you took basically the whole year off to rework it, and the graphics are good on Xbox One.
Nice.
And then on the Series X, they look incredible. So I mean, it does look really good. It's still, I mean, to be honest, it's beta, so we'll see if the final product. I would still classify it. I saw like this going around as like it's very good. The graphics are very good. But like it's not like exceptional, which would be your Ratchet and Clank, Ghost of Tsushima, or The Last of Us Part 2. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm mentioning PS5 exclusives because those are the ones that really you can put them next to it.
It's going to be benchmarked, yeah.
But I would say it's very good. It's on par with what I would say Ghost of Tsushima or something like that. And I don't really have an Xbox equivalent to say because they're name an Xbox exclusive that's like a graphical power. There isn't one right now, so I just don't.
And I mean, just the fact that it works on the previous generation,
and still look. I mean, it looks good on Xbox One. Like the previous gen.
That they probably were working within constraints. That being said, I don't think Halo.
But it's very
needs
good.
to
Is
be,
my point. I'm not trying to say it's like looks like shit. It's very good, and like Ghost of Tsushima is very good. It's also not insane. But you would agree that Ratchet and Clank and Last of Us, they are like when you look at it's a crazy step above when you look at those games compared to other games, just from a graphical standpoint. So that I just thought was interesting, and I will absolutely say that when there's an exclusive Xbox game that does that, Halo Infinite, it's not exceptional, it's very good, which is all it needs to be. I mean,
exactly. It's Halo.
You're gonna play multiplayer, yeah.
Have a great time, and if that's
it's not a
delivering.
Small focused story, which is like your Last of Us or Ratchet and Clank, which is like very focused. So they're taking time and they're like everybody's gonna be playing multiplayer. Let's make that cool, and all their multiplayer stuff is pretty fucking sweet.
So what's the story looking like? Is it a rewrite? Is it a continuation?
It's a continuation?
Okay.
There is a couple leaks. I didn't want to read them because I don't want to get too down that rabbit hole of like missing anything,
all right,
or getting anything spoiled, but. It looks good. There are some leaks out about the story, but it is a continuation, so it's a direct sequel.
Nice.
Speaking of stuff that's not continuing, at least for the week, is Riot is doing the thing that I love. It's their mid-year break. So all employees basically just shut down. Riot's taking the week off of August 2nd to disconnect and recharge. Game teams have shifted patch timelines to accommodate break, and a few teams are staggering their breaks to ensure there's no interruptions.
Yeah.
So I mentioned Riot before, where they like send everybody to like a like a beach, and they rent out the entire resort for like 2 to 3 weeks with your whole family, and they're
That's
like,
so
just go.
cool.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, I can't really take a ton of vacation during the year, so it's cool. So they were just like, yeah, the entire company is off this week. We're just so like they do have staggering teams, but that's because that team decided to shift their week to another week.
That
mainly
makes so much sense too. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that think that like keeping stuff running while people are out is like the way to do it.
Right.
And it's like, especially once you start looking at like holidays and stuff like that, where it's like you're limping along on like a few people staying back in the office, just give people the time off, recharge, and hit the fucking ground running.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's not like these people also aren't allowed to take vacation time personally. They are.
Yeah.
But you might have deadlines, and you might not other weeks, so you could take that Friday off and stuff like that. But it's like you want your big one. They're like, hey, we're giving everybody this week.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting this, and this is not your personal time.
Yeah.
You still have vacation time exterior to this. Granted, it's got to work out when timelines work out, which is just the nature of the beast. But at least they're doing something about it, because they're like, we know we're not trying to make crunch and stuff like that. We're trying to do as best as we can. And this is something I think Riot's always done. Doing so, they took their first company mid-year break last year, in addition to our long-standing end of the year break. The end of the year break is what I'm talking about, which is like the baller fucking thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was really cool, and they announced that the other day.
I would love to see metrics behind stuff like that. Like, so if let's say you have a 3-week deadline, and you're just like pushing everyone to get it.
Well, I just had a code freeze on Friday.
But is there
or release Friday?
Like, would we see a benefit for like one entire week off for the whole team, and then that 2 weeks coming back, like have renewed energy, have some more like gusto to put into it, and real. I think you can make the argument that you could actually get it done in the same amount of time with less stress.
I absolutely. I think you do. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can have less stress when it's like we have the deadlines to meet. I think that's just like the nature of like you're going to find bugs and stuff like that because you're heavily hitting the thing.
Yeah. But
I think these like week off breaks and stuff after a big release or something like that, trying to give you that emotional discharge to be like, I need like for example, I can tell you this. We just had a release on Thursday. We had our Gonna Go Thursday release Thursday night. And the first day, the new release was out was Friday, and pretty much most new releases, like I'm off Monday, because I was like because it's like, dude, I was like doing a new build at 3 a.m. Wednesday morning, for a Tuesday night, Wednesday, however you classify that, but because like it's like the code freeze, the 2 weeks code freeze is like the worst part of and we have it every 3 months. But it's just because you're hammering everything, you got to respond to things, and it's just the nature of the beast. So I just need to me that extra day adding to the weekend is just like, okay, cool. Yeah. Now I still like monitor emails and stuff to make sure the team's doing all right, but it's still like I need that because it's like my brain needs to reset. So being like I give everybody a week off it would be awesome because like
that's
the
how
engineers
I like to
just
work.
need a breather, and it's also nice. You almost get a mental one because you're like the next release is 3 months away, so you're like, all right, like it's not like you stop working, but it's like you know.
Yeah. I mean, I just went to Detroit, filmed the Bronco, came home and edited that video in 3 days, and like that's fucking intense. Like that was
that's
like
a big
60-70 hour weekend plus travel, and it was like intense, but you get like that little breather afterward. They like told me to come and do a half day on Monday or whatever. There's something to be said for like, I think that's how humans like to work. They don't like a set 40 hours all the time. Like you kind of want to crunch at some point. You want a little bit of tension. You want a little bit of drama, but then you need a break from it. It can't just be all the time. Right. I mean, that goes back to like fucking farming and stuff like that, where you have like your big planting season, then you just kind of keep an eye on things. And then you have your harvest season, which is huge. Everyone gets together. You have a lot more man hours put into shit. And then you celebrate after. Like, that's fucking human, like, society for the past, I don't know, 10,000 years. Like,
yeah,
it makes sense. People like to work that way.
No, that's you're absolutely right. Another interesting thing that kind of goes back to you like to see the numbers on it is Riot. Like, so Riot actually has an open PTO policy, meaning like there's no like, it's like if you need it, take it.
Yeah.
But the breaks they like because they like to get everybody in the company off, so there's less temptation to check Slack or emails and things like that, because like you're like still worried like, oh, I'm gonna get something in. It's kind of like really taking it off, and apparently there's a massive success for the mid-year break, but their end of the year break is a 2-week break, so it's a full 2 weeks off, where they credit everybody. And they also, one cool thing is they do a monthly no meeting day. That is guaranteed that like you cannot have meetings that day.
That's really smart. I like
it. It is, because especially for engineers, it's like, dude, I can't. You're asking me for updates. I'm in 7 meetings today.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to do the fucking work. I'm trying to work while doing this and also provide information that you're asking me. Yeah. You're like, what's the update on that ticket? It's like, well, you gave it to me 35 minutes ago and I was in a meeting the entire time. Like, that's what so I actually do that because I run. I'm still, quote unquote, technically still lead engineer, but mainly just the senior product manager now. But I was the lead engineer for years. And so I rarely code. I actually did ironically code a bunch on Friday, but it was that was honestly the first time in like a year. But they're just kind of running the team. And I kind of instituted it myself. It's like, everything kind of feeds through me anyway. So the developers, just engineers and developers talk to me, and then I'll talk to like the other product owners and things like that, stakeholders, so they can just focus. But like, I have meetings that I'll cancel for, like, I'll talk to them like, hey, do you have any updates? Like, just Slack them. Like, do you have any updates? Or like, are you heads down today? Are you heads down? And if I get enough heads down, I'm like, all right, I'm fine with that. We're in like code freeze. I'm just canceling all the meetings. And I was like, do not take any. Just do that. If there's an issue, ping me. If not, you're good. And I'll take all the other meetings so you guys don't have to.
That's a good way to do it.
So I do that so they can just work. And which is what I wanted to do when I was an engineer.
Yeah.
I fucking hated meetings. Every engineer hates meetings because it's a way you're like, I just want to get my shit done.
Yeah.
And I can't get my shit done. And their meetings are useful. You find information, but they're not. There is a breaking point. It's like 2 to 3 a day is useful, staggered. Yeah. But like when you have like 5, 6, 7 as an engineer, like manager and stuff like that, keep it on track. It's like, that's fine. But like, as an engineer, it's very difficult to do that, and then also do, because it's almost like at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well now hopefully you have to. I would get to the point where I would make a 4-hour meeting on my calendar that was like private,
just you,
so no one could set, and like they would look at my calendar and schedule, and I'll be like, oh, I have something, which was really just 4 hours that I could be uninterrupted and code.
Absolutely, yeah.
To just do, it was 4 hours so I could do my job, and like that happened at every like. I've been an engineer at a couple companies that haven't. It's across the board the same.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you need to have those core days where you're just like, I'm just knocking this shit out. So, and I do kind of respect that. Riot is a company that I look for, that I think really does it the right way, with handling their dev teams and really putting the engineers first. But I do respect that they're like, yeah, the monthly no meeting day, and they said they were looking into adding more, but being like, yeah, this. The 17th of every month, no meetings. It's heads down. And I would be honestly be like, it really needs to be like, there needs to be one a week that you're like guarantee engineers are heads down. Yeah. Unless it's like a critical, like we need you there.
I love heads down. Like that's like the locked in or whatever. They had it on
heads down
the social network
coding
type thing where,
like,
but I mean, that same thing in the edit room. Like if I have my headphone off, that means like you can talk to me. Right. But if like my boss comes in and is just shooting the shit and I have like both headphones like completely on, I'm fucking working. Like I got shit to do.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, not get out of here. I'm just like, I'm not responding to you. Don't.
Well,
like,
that's why.
Let me know about what your favorite fucking pizza flavor is. Like, I'm working.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like get out. It's like when I go into the zone, it's like, yeah. So like, yeah, I didn't realize like everybody calls it that, but yeah, it's always been heads down. So and it's the point where it's like, hey, I'm like, what do you want to be heads down today? They're like, yep. And it's like, that's what to be honest, when I was an engineer, I wanted to be heads down every fucking day.
Yeah.
I was like, very like now I've grown accustomed to talking to people. As much as I talk on a podcast and in life, at work, I am fucking here to work.
I kind of like it because I get out all my talkies.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm here to work. I'm not. So like, and people make jokes about it. Actually, they're like, well, this is one of Justin's meetings, so there'll be no small talk. And like,
yep.
Even like people way higher up than me, like, know if I'm running the meeting, they're like, yeah, no, it's like a VP joke. They're like, yep, no small talk because Justin is gonna, because that's the thing. Like, you keep every meeting like Andre. I'm like, yeah, because I'm here to work. You want to talk to me 5 o'clock? We can have personal like I just, and I'm also, it's like, I don't know. You should like be able to have like friendly conversation stuff, but like when I'm at work, I'm just like, I don't want this to bleed into my personal day.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want to get it done.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, which, everybody's different, but like, especially when I was an engineer, I mean, I was like you said, to put my headphones on and I would just be like, I mean, to the point where people would come over and start talking to me and I would just ignore them, being like, and then I wait till someone like jiggles my cube or the laptop, and that's happened. I'm like, what? They're like, so what do you think about that? I was like, my headphones are noise canceling, which they weren't at the time.
And but you're fucking noise.
Yeah. And you're the goddamn noise that's
I'm waiting to open my beer till we move on to the next section. And I'm like,
But they weren't noise canceling headphones. I would just say that. So then, but then it eventually became like, oh, do you see that? So then people would be like, so then it was also kind of nice because people would only talk to me if like we needed to talk, or they would literally like Slack me and they'd be like behind me, like from their phone, because you just Slack, and I'll be like, yeah, we need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, and I'll turn around to go to the office, and they're like, right, just waiting to talk to me. I'm like, oh, what's up? Because like when you're in the zone, especially like coding, I will literally start coding and then be like, all right, I need to get lunch, and be like, oh, it's been 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like that's happened so many, and you probably get when you're editing.
Oh my God, yeah.
When you're so in the zone,
Flow
it is like
state.
time does not exist, and you're in a different stage of life where you're on a higher plateau. You're on.
Do you guys not call it flow state in coding?
I do not really. I've never called it
as
that
like a creative like anything, painting,
Oh, no,
whatever. Like it's called flow state, and
Oh,
it's
I've
like
never heard
when
of
you
that.
lose track of time.
Oh yeah, I just like that's just heads down. Like when I'm just heads down, I just call it being in the zone. That's generally we're just in the zone. But
I think
flow state.
it was just something they created to make himself sound better, but that's what.
No,
it
I mean
is.
that
Like,
makes sense. Yeah. So we would always just say in the zone, but flow state. But basically, you have no perception of time, and then it's like I got in at 9 a.m. and then all of a sudden it's like I should probably get lunch.
Why is it
like,
dark out?
And it's like 5:30, and I'm like, oh, I can go home. Yeah. Like I didn't even eat lunch, and it's like I'll just eat at my desk, and it's like, well, I'm eating dinner at my desk. I mean, I literally had that where back when I was a younger engineer, it's like I was doing. Now this is not the healthiest work thing, but for a good 3 months, I was doing close to 18 hours a day, 16 to 18 hours a day, which is a long. And pretty much, I was there, and I would only go home to sleep. And a couple of times, I slept at the office. Like it was because we had big releases. I don't do that anymore because I realize it's like crazy unhealthy. It helped me get a ton of experience in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
but that's also the crunch shit you don't want to do because you should have a life outside of it. But I am so obsessed at work and outside of work with coding that it was like playing a video game to me. It was like I'm doing fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was building my knowledge base to make video games, which is what I love. I wasn't making a game there per se.
Yeah.
But using the same type of
all the tools.
Right, with coding, and I would have to do like vector calculations, which is a big part of Unity, as those developers know. So it's kind of like that's part of it, and working with physics engines, things like that for certain areas. So it's kind of cool. Anyways, let's get on to their next thing.
One. Tencent Sumo.
There we go. Wrestling. No. Tencent bought Sumo Digital for $1.27 billion.
Is that a lot?
It is a lot, but it's also not. I mean, like we've seen way bigger ones. Like Mahjong and stuff was like 5. Right?
I mean, we've seen bigger, but that's still insane.
It's still a good amount of money. Yeah.
So
basically, they were Crackdown 3, which like I feel like never really came out, but it did. Sackboy's Big Adventure is the biggest one.
So not the other two? Not Little Big Planet 1 and 2, just Sackboys and Big Adventure?
I think they just did that. I don't think they were LBP, because LBP I'm pretty sure was an in-house.
Okay.
Let me
because I don't know if I recognize the name Sumo. It's also very funny that like the British company is the one called Sumo and the Chinese company is the one called Tencent.
That is weird. Yeah, I get.
I mean, just being stereotypical, I guess, but yeah.
No, I got what you're saying. So, well, they're listing.
Would it be
all
10
They're
pence?
listing all of them for the franchise here. So let me look. Yeah, Media Molecule. That's what I thought.
Yes,
It's Media Molecule. Who does Dreams?
Okay.
They are in house.
Oh, they do Dreams. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
So they did Dreams. So they Media Molecule is in house for Sony. So they just didn't do Sackboy's Big Adventure.
Okay.
Which was
it kind of makes sense because it looks
yeah.
different. It feels different.
Well, actually, that's not true. Little Big Planet 3 was developed by Sumo Digital.
Okay.
Because I think they were doing Dreams when 3 was coming out, so they were working on Dreams.
Kind of handed it off.
So they handed it off. So Sumo did 3, and they did Sackboy's Big Adventure. So they kind of took over. So it is. I
never played 3, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, so it is big saying like they did the third one in the franchise, and which added a bunch of additional characters. And now Sackboy's Big Adventure, which I've actually heard a lot of good things about. So good for them.
It's just a platformer. It's nothing like the
right. It's nothing like what Media Molecule was developing. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. They also did Tearaway, which is a game on PS Vita. But anyways, Media Molecule did not Sumo. But yeah, they are. In 2010, they were bought by Sony, Media Molecule. So, which is what initially made me be like, "What the fuck?" When I saw, I was like, "Sackboy Big Adventure developer bought by Tencent," and I was like, "Sony owns them." And then I was like, "Oh wait, that's Media Molecule, not Sumo." Yeah. So that
So what things do Sumo have? Because that seems like a lot for.
No, let me pull that up. I actually don't know off the top of my head because I thought they were Media Molecule. Well, so Sackboy 3 or Little Big Planet 3 and Sackboy's Big Adventure, Crackdown 3. They made that iOS game Spider, which I actually did play. I didn't realize that was them. Virtual Tennis for the PSP, Outrun, Go Sudoku, bunch of race-based Super Rub-a-Dub.
See, that's the thing. Are they just more of a mobile thing? Because Tencent, we've seen them in the past. Like
they're heavily in the. I would say Tencent is. Yeah, I mean, well, Tencent is the largest like gaming brand that nobody knows. The publisher that is like, wait, who are they? It's like they're like behind the people you think are behind it.
Yeah,
they're literally like the Illuminati of the gaming industry. But like, they also did Hood Outlaws and Legends, which is that new game that came out in 2021. So I've seen a little bit about that.
So you think that valuation's good?
I would.
It seems a little high to me.
They separated their co-developed games. Their co-developed games are Hitman 2, Disney's Infinity, Forza for Horizon 4, Xbox Fitness, Dead Space Ignition.
So we're getting there.
So that's just not singularly developed. So they did separate like co-developed, and they have ported some other games, Forza too.
Yeah.
And by the way, I was including Forza in the graphics games that I think is very good, but not insane. Forza is not at that level.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo 7 actually does look at that level. Like, don't blame me. Look at the fucking trailers. You can see it yourself. Anyways, but yeah, so they have developed something. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it also depends on a lot of it's the revenue, and it's probably there's probably been great revenue on Crackdown 3. Maybe not even that. I would say Sackboy: A Big Adventure and Little Big Planet 3. Because they're so well-known areas. They probably just make a lot of money off that. But they do have a couple iOS and Android games, which those little transactions make a fuckload of money. I mean...
Yeah, absolutely.
The fucking developers are like Bubble Witch and shit like that. Or Candy Crush. They sold for billions of dollars.
I mean, those are the microtransactions that people aren't making a fuss about. And that's huge.
Right. And that Candy Crush, for example, is one of the ones that sold for like... billions of dollars. So it's like if you have one of those things, sure. So yeah, I mean 1.27. I'm not great at evaluating. I would say it's probably fair, just given what we've seen in the industry. I mean, it's not Bethesda was what 10.
I think so,
8 or 10 or something like that. So pretty good. But yeah, not bad. So yeah, congrats Tencent on getting that. But speaking of spending a fuckload of money, Last of Us series we got that for is maybe around roughly 10 million an episode.
Okay, so Last of Us, the TV series.
Last of Us TV series. So it was kind of announced
10 million.
10 million an episode. There's going to be 10 episodes, so at least 100 million. They think it will exceed roughly 150 for the season because it will be some will be 10, some will be 12 or 15.
Yeah.
So it will be roughly a 150 million a season, and they expect to have 8 seasons.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought it was 10 million for the season, and I'm like, that's not a lot at all.
No, it's 10 million. It's the lowest episode is $10 million.
That's crazy. Can we pull up Battle of the Bastards just to see what that?
Well, I have just the general Game of Thrones episode were 6 to 7 million.
Okay.
Season 6 ran 10 episodes that had a 10 million an episode. Season 8 finale, the season 8 finale, which was the longer battle focused one, was $15 million.
Damn.
Of Game of Thrones. So the finale of Game of Thrones was season 6. The last season of Game of Thrones was 90 million, but it was only, again, 6 episodes. So it was roughly 15. But yeah, so this exceeds.
So what we're saying is we're going to hit the ground running.
This exceeds Game of Thrones at its peak.
Damn.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's either equal or exceeds Game of Thrones at its peak, which is like, if you think about the two worlds, Game of Thrones needs a high budget because there's a ton of CGI.
It's huge, yeah.
This is like The Walking Dead exceeding that, which they're not doing that. So it's like, what are they putting in this?
Where's it going to? Yeah.
But maybe they're going to do like show more of the effect on the world and kind of like it's going to be a lot of large scale things happening per episode. Yeah. I mean, I'm all in. I mean, Pedro Pascal, I know he's like very well known, but like I don't think he's demanding like these heavy wages at this point. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know, because I'm sure some of it obviously is actor salary. But like these giant Game of Thrones battles.
I mean, he was in Game of Thrones, so
right. Yeah, and hopefully he has a better fate. Well, we'll say.
Spoiler.
Ironically, a similar fate. But we'll see if they diverge anything from the game or not. But also, the girl I think is someone from Ellie is Bella Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
So both Game of Thrones lore, people. So yeah, I mean it looks
as
pretty
long
legit.
as they're not taking the writers over, then we're good.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! At least the last season, guys. That just like, what are you guys doing?
They just gave up.
They did.
Yeah.
It was pathetic, and they had like 2 extra years to do it too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to go into that. It just pissed me off. But it does. I mean, it sounds like this is going to be awesome. And HBO, we definitely can't be like HBO didn't believe in it because HBO is footing the bill. What? Yeah. And I don't even know how. Like, it's because it could have been done Walking Dead-esque, where some episodes cost a little more. But like, I guess because their zombies are like The Last of Us has like clickers and stuff. Maybe that's the additional prosthetic, and they want to make it feel like there's a lot, so the CGI could be a big battle of this.
I mean, CGI is going to play a huge part.
I could see the first one being a lot because it's when the world like kind of shuts down, so planes will be crashing and shit like that. Like that opening. I am curious. Do you think the first episode will be the first 10 minutes of the game, or do you think that'll be the first season?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like,
they'll stretch it out.
How long? Does Joel's daughter die at the end of episode 1, or is she dying at the end of the season, or like episode 5?
Maybe episode 2.
So you think they're gonna? But because I think they have to kind of get to, because it's like a 15-year difference. Then there's the Fireflies and the whole like lockdown area and stuff. So that contingent of the city.
I think you're gonna see more of that.
I think like how they built that infrastructure.
Yeah, I think it might take us till season 2 to like even meet Ellie.
Really? I don't know.
If you're making it 10 seasons,
8
seasons, either way, you're gonna have to.
But if you think about it, I think the first game can be. I think like him and Ellie. Like, I think the information about Ellie might be the finale, but I think he'll be
and they're going to pad out
Ellie
between 1 and 2, obviously.
But I think one season could be kind of like, like 2, actually, a lot of 2 is kind of takes place. It gives you background that from a different viewpoint that you saw at 1, and then also like 2 itself.
Playable flashback.
2 itself is like 30 hours, like at full speed. 2 itself could easily be 2 to 3 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like and like that's not stretching it out. So, but there's also the background of 2. And if you want to give people that side of the story, they could do that with like season 1 is Ellie's side and season 2 is going to be kind of like a younger version Not of Ellie, of fucking
Joel.
no. Oh God, no. Abby, yeah. I still don't like Abby. I still think she should have died at the end. I fucking hate Abby. I think Ellie should have killed her when she drowned her. But anyways, we're past like spoiler. It's been way too long for that. I held my tongue.
Yeah.
But
Justin just wants to rub it in.
Well, also they should have at least given you the choice, but whatever. Anyway, because I still fuck that bitch. I don't care if I found out all the information that was terrible about her life. I'm still an Ellie stan, and that's how it's gonna be.
That's fine. I'm just saying, full well that the person sitting across from you is spoiler
it's also
sensitive.
That's like
I don't
like
give
being
a
like,
shit. I don't give a shit.
That's
I am
like
a co-host.
Like, he was dead the whole time, and it's like of the Sixth Sense, and it's like you've had a time.
I am a co-host, and you are being inconsiderate.
You'll forget. It also doesn't. I didn't give away any of the big moments. Anyways. Good. Because I didn't say how or anything. But anyway, but moving past that, Abby getting like a backstory of her as a age of Ellie, you could do that. But I think it's definitely interesting. I mean, I really want to see like the trailer to kind of like obviously where this is going, because I think it actually finished filming or something like that. But or no, maybe just started filming. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's all this COVID shit. It's like the production start every day is like which one's starting, which one's stopping.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had to abandon filming in the middle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like when they're production on this, it's like, oh, I thought that already did this, and it's like, oh yeah, like the Mission Impossible movies is taking forever.
Yeah.
Which is like obviously, but anyways, back to Last of Us. I think it will be. I think two. I don't know. I think they're going to want to open strong, and I think she dies at the end of the first episode. I think it will be the first 10 minutes. And then I think after that is, instead of being like 15 years later, it's going to be kind of being like maybe 5 years later, and kind of show Joel's like kind of reacting with that with his brother. I think there'll be more of him and Tommy, him and his brother, that we didn't see in those time periods, how they build that relationship. And then, like you said, Ellie, I think Ellie comes in around like 4 or 5.
Yeah. You know what would be really cool too is if the first season was an anthology.
Like everything's just different.
Like you see Joel and his daughter in the first episode, and then the next like
9 episodes are just other
15 years are different stories, kind of showing how this has progressed over the years. Do like a story about one of the Fireflies. Do a story about like, and you kind of
they're definitely
you get glimpses of the world, and you build it out, because like that was a big thing
from
in
the
game is that you find like all these little like notes and
you want to get the lore pieces.
And there's all this stuff where you just see a skeleton and then find out the whole backstory of what they are just through like reading or listening to a diary. And you're obviously not going to stop in the middle of an episode to read a fucking diary.
Yeah, no shit.
So, like, I think it would be really cool to kind of pad out the world with like an anthological.
I think they would do that, but I don't think it would be. I think probably 2 of the episodes.
They're not going to. That's me.
Well, some shows do that. Like I think Walking Dead has actually done it, but like which I don't watch anymore. But like longer shows do that, where it's like it seems like a one-off. They're called like one-off episodes.
Yes.
Where it's like, but like this season itself is not an anthology. But there are a couple that it's like that, because the next episode, Joel and Ellie are going to go into this cabin. And it's like, oh, that's fucking what's his name? Like one show that's really good at doing this, that has done it both seasons, is Mythic Quest. Yeah. They are really good at showing you like the lore of back to gaming. Boom, great transition by me. The lore of like the building they designed Mythic Quest in, where they host.
Yeah,
they have this incredible episode with Jake Johnson and
I forget her name too.
Yeah, who's awesome.
She was really great.
She was the mom. She's the mom in How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
But of how they were like this gothic gaming couple, and then like had this, and it's like this tragedy, like downfall, but like beautiful tragedy, I guess you could say, of it, and that's how they get the story. And to say they do the same thing in season 2 with the author and his backstory, with showing like other 2 characters from his world that then applies to later on in the season.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I think they'll do something like that.
I think they will. I would love to see a full anthology. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see a full anthology because it's like I want to see the characters I care about.
Yeah.
I'm not against caring about other characters. But that's why it's like I like how Mythic Quest does it. It's like we know there's the established ones, and then we'll give you an episode or 2 of like backstory that will then add better character development and just lore, quote unquote, to the show itself. Yeah. I think that's what they'll do. And to me, that works a little bit better because it's like, I think there's a lot they can do with not previous people, but additional like people diving into more of the Fireflies and stuff like that, where I think they'll just have a whole half of the season will be kind of following, like, like Game of Thrones, like season 3 and 4 didn't show certain characters because it was just following 3 characters and the other one was following the other 3 characters or whatever. I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to do, here's John out, then it's going to be almost a whole season of the Firefly and like Tommy and, Firefly stuff, and then do that. And that way you'll kind of get that development, or Abby and her dad and shit. Yeah. And then it's like, that's how they're going to kind of build it. And
it's
then,
also great for production too, where like you give actors a bit of a time off because like
we can also film it. You can also make the seasons kind of release not in the total year because it's like we're not filming with you. Like we can have a second production team because like that's kind of almost what Suits did.
Yeah,
but where they would like we have our 10 episodes in the winter and 10 in the summer, which is kind of cool because you never had to wait a full year, but you weren't getting 20 episodes. So or they give 8 or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. But like HBO, if they're doing the Game of Thrones thing, they won't do that. It's just going to be like, we're not doing split production. But that would be cool because you could just have the second production team just go film all that and like, oh, we're season 2.
Yeah. All right.
So, but that would be pretty interesting. I don't know. But yeah, the show gets me excited. I think it's next year is when it's targeted for release. But who knows? And also, we'll end this with Horizon has been delayed till 2022. It unfortunately, Horizon Forbidden West was announced that it seems to be delayed to, I believe, early 2022 is reportedly delayed. Yeah, so
all right, maybe I'll finish Last of Us 2 by then.
Q1 2022. So yeah, I just wanted to end on a somber note there. But let's. You want to jump to trivia? Trivia? Oh no, you want to get to. We got
things to start. Did you want to say anything about Abandon?
Oh, I do. Actually, I do want to say Abandon live experience or real time experience is live on PS5. It doesn't download like a normal game. You have to like click the 3 dots and do live experience. It's the game that everybody thinks is like the new PT. I haven't been able to play it yet, so I'll talk about that next week. But from what I'm seeing is there's also been a lot like they keep trying to go like we're our own thing, except the thing saying the tweet went live or whatever is an out of focus picture of a guy with an eye patch, which is really leaning into Metal Gear Solid shit.
A little bit.
And like Kojima, I mean, like, why are you doing this? Like, granted, that could be anything, but it's like, you have this association. Just don't put that in the picture. But unless it's like a pivotal part of your game, obviously. But then there's also been a lot of cryptic tweets this week from Kojima and Norman Reedus about Silent Hill again all of a sudden. And it's like, what is like? I was the one who was saying I think it's just a person. This is a real game development and stuff. I need to play this obviously because it was the end of PT is what gave you Silent Hill.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've purposely stayed away from all the tweets about it, like mentioning it, because I want to find out. So I'll let you know. But it is. I don't know. It is interesting. So Abandon on PS5. If you have it, download, try it out. Let us know what you think. And Sage, you want to talk Olympics?
Yeah. I'm gonna do it. So if I have something to talk about, it's just gonna be first, and then we can
because we just go off. We go off
break down from there.
Yeah.
No. So obviously, like if we're talking Gladiator game, like the biggest games in the world are going on right now.
Olympic.
But obviously,
we're
not a sports channel. We're not whatever. We're not gonna cover every
sporty.
And be like it's a game technically, but.
It happens every 2 years technically, so it's worth noting.
To say that we aren't. One of the big interesting things that's been going on is like peak performance, where all these athletes have been training to try and hit their peak in 2020, and then the whole thing was pushed back.
Right.
So it's just like a really interesting kind of way to like set up, train, what you're doing, like your freaking travel plans. You don't have like your family there supporting you. So it is really interesting seeing all like the stories happening in the background. There's obviously everything happening with gymnastics is huge.
Yeah, with Simone Biles.
Yeah,
that's right. Honest, more power to her mental health. She needs to.
Yeah.
Phil, I do think it's like, could you have told your team earlier? But maybe she did, and we just found out.
If
that's
it's
what I'm hoping.
the twisties or whatever, there's nothing that she could do.
Right. That's what I heard. It's like basically like the yips for gymnasts, where it's like, like any other sport we're called the yips, but apparently the twisties, where it's like my brain, like I can't, like I'll hurt myself because my brain is not ready.
I don't know where I am in the air,
and it's like that. Jesus Christ! And like apparently that does happen, and it sounds like it's similar to the yips. So it's like if that's what it is, I mean, it is what it is. It's like you can't like kill herself like it. Yeah. And she already proved she's the GOAT. Like period. Like there's like, but it's like I do believe in like don't lead your team on, and it's like. Did she like? I don't like that she decided till this last second to cancel everyone because she's like, I'm still doing individual trials, and then cancel that, and he's like, I still want to do the event finals, and then cancel.
Well, I mean, she was testing herself every day. That's the big
right, but it's
and this isn't what I want to get into.
I know, but I just like not to end on that note. It's more of just being like, I'm not saying it wasn't right, but I'm saying like. I don't know if that's something you can test yourself every day and the next day you might be fine. I get it if she really believed that. But at the same point, it's like, I think she should have just been like, I'm out of it the first time. And just be like, because that way her team's like, all right, we're not even going to pretend to rely on you. Because it's like, it's not just you, it is your team. So for her mental health, fully support that. I just hope that her team at least had more information than we did. That's all I'm hoping. That's all I hope. And and if they did, I have zero fucking issue because you know what? She's the greatest of all time. It's not my fucking place, and your mental health is what is important to you. So fuck off. All right, go.
So the big thing I wanted to say, especially on that whole like when you peak type thing, is like a term that you see all the time in
first game in Valorant.
The gaming industry is metagaming. And I mean, you see it in that. You see it in especially in D&D, where it's like there's clearly
game within the game.
There's clearly defined rules, but then like people try and like break the rules because they know what they are, and it just turns it into like this weird kind of shitty rules games.
Yeah,
and a lot of people hate it. It's like a bad thing to do, and you're kind of seeing that in the Olympics now, where it's not just like who is the best at this point every 4 years. It's like you are training for a specific point in a 4-year period to be at the absolute apex of like what your conditioning is. And then on the other side of it, which I think is, it's a smart way to play. Yeah. But then you have teams like China, where the New York Times had an article called China's Olympic goal, the most gold at any cost.
Yeah.
And they go into the fact that like China specifically trains people for events that don't have a big following. So that's why they're getting all these like weightlifting golds is because they're taking these girls at like whatever age.
I mean, that's like their whole gymnast thing in Russia. China and Russia are not the pinnacle of like Olympic efficacy.
No,
it's like if anything, they're the opposite.
Oh, lights off.
Dark.
So yeah, they're basically like kind of just grooming people for the sport over years and years.
Yeah, but like in 2024, you're 6. It's now like 2003. You're going to be the perfect peak that day or whatever.
And they obviously want to compete for like a gold and everything, but there's specific ones where it's like if you don't get gold, you are a failure for your country.
Dude, fucking South Korea is right. I believe it's South Korea. If you don't get gold, you go to the army. Period. Or if you it's either if you don't go gold or you don't medal. It's one or the other, but like it's like so you better. It's
no, it's in that's what I would define as metagaming. It's like you're not trying to be like, "Oh, we have athletes in this country that are good at this thing. Here's our best." It's we are specifically planning 10, 15 years ahead of time that we are going to put government money, government funding behind these specific people that have specific body types to get good at this sport so that we can medal later. I mean, it's what they did with skateboarding where...
They did with gymnasts too, but I think they actually...
Well, gymnasts everyone knows, but skateboarding, they took a girl out of like Kung Fu school because she had excellent balance and was able to do like certain things.
Skateboarder.
And they're like, learn skateboarding because that's what you're going to be doing for the next however many years of your life.
Jesus, I mean, I think passion is really important to be behind it. I don't love the government deciding. Like,
yeah,
in America, it's like, you could say maybe your parents heavily influence it, obviously. I like to think it's also the person is obsessed. Like Simone Biles is the greatest gymnast in history, period. And that's been proven time and time again. U.S. gymnast, obviously. But because she loves it. It's like, and like that's nice to see. It's like, hey, China, you might get a lot of medals, but the GOAT, the greatest ever, is someone who was born and chose, and they're like, I'm going to use every mental capacity, not because I'm being forced to do this, because I'm obsessed with this. And to me, that's the better outcome as opposed I guess it's like negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement too. But just to correct myself on the other thing, it is South Korea, and everybody in South Korea every South Korean male has to do military service for the most part until the age of 28. So they're enlisted until the age of 28 to enlist and serve at least 18 months. But anybody who wins any medal at the Olympics or a gold medal at the Asian Games can mostly forgo their service.
Okay, so it's kind of like Israel, right? Don't
so
they
like
have
the South Korean
mandatory
golfers
service?
Is where they were talking about this? Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you're going to the military unless you medal in the Olympics.
That
which
makes
still
sense.
is like that's a pretty good. It's like, look, most of my life thought I was going to go to the military anyways, so it's fine. But then it's like, hey, even if you wanted to, if you still can, it's your choice.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to, win a medal. And it's like, that's some fucking.
That's
I don't
good
even know if
work
that's pressure.
That's way better than Daddy has a lot of money and can buy you out of the military. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's pressure. I guess some pressure, but it's also kind of like a good good incentive is what I'm looking for. Like that is an incentive.
And I think the important point is not like no one has to go to the military, but if you lose, then you were going. It's that everyone goes.
Right. It's not just you.
And an exemption because you
Give and you still can go if you really want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's also only 18 months, which I mean I say only 18, but that's most things are like 4 years.
Yeah.
So
the reason I mentioned the article, New York Times, like they spell out, they show like the history of it. They show that like China was boycotting the Olympics, and then when they came back into it in the 80s, they came back with a vengeance, trying to make sure that they were like getting the most gold medals. So there's a lot to read in there. There's a lot more nuance. It's not necessarily just a freaking factory where they're turning out gold medal athletes. There is context, kind of an agenda behind it, and that article is a really good one, kind of showing what we're up against, and gives me a lot more pride.
We're being America, by the way.
Yeah, but it gives me a lot more pride for my country, where it's like we have someone that can step out, and at least half the country supports her being able to step out. Where I can't imagine what other countries would do if people said
if China gymnast was like, I have the twisties, they're like, great,
death penalty. I don't like it. I don't think it's that crazy, but
they probably would be like, you're still doing it, and hopefully you don't break your. Because in gymnasts, you're doing like a triple McDougal or whatever the fuck. Like you could break your fucking neck, like because you're jumping on a pole and shit. Like that cat or whatever they do all their handstand shit on. Yeah, I don't know the names. I'm not, but like
balance beam.
Yeah. But it's a name. I think it's called like the cat though or something. But either way, it's like you break your fucking neck on that. Your head. So it's like
you could break your neck on any gymnastics.
Right. And it's like you're saying, like Simone Biles is like, and we're like, hey, what? Like no one's putting a gun to your, like it's like now who knows? Like you said, but it sounds like if China is essentially grooming you for this day, and you're like, I have the twisty today. It sounds like more like they're like, no, you don't. Yeah. Like they're like, you actually don't. You're doing this.
Yeah. And by the way, I was exaggerating with the death penalty. I don't think that's what it would be, but I think that it would be a more severe kind of punishment.
Well, there would be a punishment other than Twitter being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And a bunch of assholes that just don't understand, like, who can't fathom putting themselves in that situation. Yeah. Because sorry, you're not part of the 0.01% of people that can even be in this position to begin with. But that's why. Yeah. Like I said,
get up from your chair without getting dizzy, and then tell me whether or not you can do 18 fucking flips in the air without like registering where you are by like the fucking hair follicles on your butt. Like, how do you? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I said my only issue with it was like I just want to make sure she knows the team, because like, as someone in a team sport, it's like you want to know I have someone I can count on.
Yeah,
and it's like that's all I'm saying. And then most likely they probably knew this whole time, and they're like, we have to let the media is eventually going to get this. Like,
That was apparently why the twisties was so big. Is that once you said that to any other person in the field, like they knew what you were talking about. They're like, absolutely, that's huge.
That was the interesting part. As soon as she said it, it was like, because before they didn't say it. She said she had an injury or a mental health issue, and I was like, what the fuck? And then it's like, oh, she just like doesn't feel like going because the pressure, and everybody's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, don't let it get to you, or at least let us. And then she's like, the twisty, and everybody's like, yo, fucking take, no problem.
Yeah.
Not an issue. And it's like, oh yeah, because my brain is like, I don't know where I am in this physical space. I could die. And it's like, yeah, okay. Because you're doing the triple McDanish.
Yeah. The
triple McDanish. One of those is the name from the triple flip that he does in Back to School. Rodney Dangerfield does in
Salchow?
No, it's triple McDanish.
I don't know.
I don't forget. And then he does it at the end. It's glorious. All right, let's get the trivia, baby, because we are past the hour mark. We are. Show. All right, so you want to go? You're writing stuff in a book.
And mine's Olympic related, so.
Oh, I'm going to fail that. I haven't watched a single episode of the Olympics.
I would say that wouldn't affect it, but it will. Okay. So, I'm going to tell you a sport, and you are going to tell me whether it is a 2021 Tokyo Olympic sport.
Okay, but technically, for the record, it's called the 2020 Olympics still.
Fun.
It is. They kept the name because they're keeping the schedule of every.
Well, they're also being weird with it, where like half the people are calling it 2021 and the other half are
I know, but all the T-shirts still say.
We're going off the T-shirts,
and the medals still say it too.
Yeah. All right, so. Yeah, we're just gonna.
Which, by the way, rocking.
You're gonna
rock. Oh, this is not the rocking the Easy Allies T-shirt. We love them. Good. It's another game. They used to be Game Trailers. Now they're Easy Allies. So, got some great podcasts over there as well. Anyways, continue.
All right, we're diving in. Yes or no? Is it a sport that is being played this year?
Got it.
Handball.
Do I have your MPD time limit or just the fast time limit? Do you want me to do this fast or slow? Because I can go fast. Or I can go slow.
I mean, we're already on a time crunch.
How sensitive?
Fast. Quickie. We're doing a quickie.
Okay. Yes.
3-on-3 basketball.
No.
15s rugby.
Yes.
Table tennis.
Yes.
Badminton.
No.
Dressage.
Yes, because it's so weird. I'm scared.
BMX.
Yes.
Fencing.
Yes.
Sailing.
No.
Trampolining.
That's definitely not the name of it, so no.
Water polo.
Yes.
Surfing.
Yes.
Karate.
No.
Rock climbing.
No.
Skateboarding.
Yes.
Baseball.
Yeah. No, it's softball. No.
Softball.
Yes.
Cannon shooting.
Is that shooting? Yes.
Cannons.
It's
like a full cannon.
Like a ship cannon. Oh, no. They have a sharpshooting event.
Gliding.
No.
Breakdancing.
Yes.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of 20. So you got half right.
Yeah. Was every one an Olympic event?
So a lot of them were Olympic events. 15's rugby, no, but they did have 7's rugby.
So I was gonna say I know rugby's one of them,
yeah.
And it's like that's cheap shot. It's like I don't fucking know.
I know. 3-on-3 basketball they did have.
Really?
It was super weird. It's half court too.
That's
it's lame as fuck.
I know they have like normal basketball.
Yeah. Badminton they do have.
Yeah, I was on the fence about that one.
Dressage is like a horse thing.
So that's no?
It is.
Yeah. Okay, so
they do have it. It's a real weird sport that a lot of people are like, why the fuck is this here?
So that's just like fancy horse thing, right?
Yeah.
Like
it is
make
fancy
the horse like
thing.
dancing.
Yep. They do have BMX. The American guy got cut off. You did, yeah. Okay. The American guy got cut off by the French dude and like got in a really bad accident.
You mean like while they're biking together?
In like the gold medal.
Oh, like
thing.
so like that.
So
the
French guy won.
France, yeah.
And
fuck that.
The American guy got cut off. I was not happy about it. Fencing is in, sailing is in, trampolining is an event, and it is called trampolining.
Is it really?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Fencing is or isn't?
Is. Okay. And you have like multiple things. There's saber, there's foils.
Because I think fencing has been there for a while, because I remember.
Yeah.
I knew that one.
Yeah. Water polo, yes.
Yeah, I knew that because someone said, I saw someone just be like, apparently I talked to Nico.
Okay.
Who used to do water polo in high school in Missouri, which I would have been like, yeah, there's water polo. We didn't have one, and I think we're pretty fucking progressive.
Maybe we just didn't have a pool.
Maybe that's it. But it also is like I never heard of anybody in it. But he said
Are you talking about Penn State? They had to have had water polo.
No, I'm talking about high school.
Yeah.
He was playing at high school. One of the things he said that it's really intense, but really intense under the water. And I didn't see this at the Olympics thing, is because one of the moves people do is they grab your nuts and like rip down.
Oh,
and they grab it. And he's like, yeah, you can wear like a cup or whatever, but like most people, because it's kind of weird. It's like when you played rugby and stuff, you could wear a cup. A lot of people didn't because you like, chafes your legs and stuff like that. Yeah. And I did with football and lacrosse, same thing. But he was like, yeah, dude. So when you get in like to this quick scrums, they'll grab your nuts and like twist or squeeze. And I'm like, and he's like, so that kind of gets really annoying. And I was like, no shit, dude.
Jeez.
So my point was,
put like
did
some
you
razor
watch
blades
it?
on my.
Did you watch?
I didn't watch it. No.
Okay, because I was curious if they have an underwater camera.
Not that I've seen, because I did watch it last year.
Okay, and it's like, imagine there'd be like, I feel like that would be something people would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
By the way, it wasn't allowed, but like, if the ref's not under the water, they're not seeing it.
Yeah.
Because the refs, at least in high school, were standing on top of the pool.
Exactly.
Not like in the water.
So there were 5 or 6 sports that were added this year.
Skateboarding and surfing, right?
Surfing was one. Karate was one, which I can't believe that A wasn't part of it before.
Yeah, I just didn't remember being one of the new ones. Yeah.
Rock climbing, they're calling it sports climbing, but yes, was added this year.
It was rock climbing is still no then. It's sports climbing.
Skateboarding.
I mean, just to be fair, because you did 15s and 7s, right?
Baseball and softball.
Baseball is? Oh, really?
Yep.
Do we not have a USA team?
I
know we have a softball.
No, we had.
Maybe.
I mean, I think it's women's softball, men's baseball type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I just haven't heard anything about Olympic baseball, like at all. I've heard softball.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but. And the men's basketball team because they lost, but now they win.
Yeah,
but
I think China we won yesterday. Japan we got beat by in baseball. I'm not positive.
Japan is really good at baseball.
So they are, yeah. So the last 3, cannon shooting and gliding used to be Olympic sports, but have since been discontinued. And then breakdancing is speculated to be part of the 2028 Olympics.
Oh, okay.
But
I remember I heard something about that, and I was like, I guess. Like,
yeah. Dude, it's fascinating. Like, I feel like I could talk about this for fucking half an hour. Like, just what sports do or don't make.
And, like, why? Because it seems very, like, arbitrary, too. Yeah. Like, oh, that could definitely be one. It's like, well, then why can't this? Like, I don't... There was something that somebody told me... Oh, cornhole. Cornhole was like speculated to be at one point. I'm like, there's enough skill behind cornhole that I would say that it would be on the level of ping pong or any of these, half these other sports you just said. Yeah. Like breakdancing, cornhole could be at the same. Like,
I'd put it up there with curling.
It's basically land curling. So, yeah. So, I mean, like, how is that? And that's winter games. So, that's what I thought you were going to do because you were really adamant about like this. So, I thought you were going to be like snowboarding. Or like ice hockey and be like, because those are winter ones. And I'm like, fuck you.
I
was expecting you to give me some winter games too. But all right. No, it's good. There's good trivia. I'm just going to give you pretty straightforward one because you did like this series and it came up today. So Little Big Planet franchise.
Oh.
How many main title games? How many handheld? How many spinoffs? Just numbers.
3 main title.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did just say that too. So
2 handheld.
Okay.
And I'm going to go 1 spinoff. No.
3.
2 spinoffs.
Okay. 3 main title, correct. 2 handheld, correct. 5 spinoffs.
Okay.
So there's Little Big Planet karting, Sackboy's prehistoric moves, Run Sackboy Run, Little Big Planet Hub, and which is called a one. I would call it a main series, but Sackboy: A Big Adventure, the RPG that
I would call it a spinoff.
I guess, yeah, but to me, it's like it seems to continue the main storyline of Little Big Planet.
But like building is such a big part of it.
That's
and
true.
It doesn't seem
I think it still has some of the building stuff.
But in like a Super Mario.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Like Super Mario Maker kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, that was good. I really did not expect you to get both. Did you play both handhelds? Is that what you knew? Or are you just saying two?
No, I feel like there's only 2 handhelds that it would have applied to.
Do you know what two? It's each handheld is a different console. There's only 2 handheld consoles. Do you know which consoles?
PSP and Vita.
Correct. PSP and then Vita. That's well. I was gonna ask more, but I want you to end on a high note. So, I mean, that is the best trivia I think you've ever done. So I think we'll just end on that because that was just like you fucking nailed it.
All right,
we'll end on that. All right, so keep gaming, people. Enjoy the Olympics. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.